A major shakeup happened over at Niantic earlier this week, and I do think it's going to make a huge impact on Pokemon GO's future. That's what this video is going to be all about, so let's roll the intro and get right into it. Alright, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula. I hope you're having a good day, and welcome to today's Pokemon GO video. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about the major layoffs that happened over at Niantic earlier this week, and I do think it's going to make some sort of impact on Pokemon GO's future. So what exactly happened? Well, John Hanke, the CEO of Niantic, sent out an email to his employees, and he stated that 230 Niantic employees were going to be laid off. He is also going to be cutting a couple of projects that were not doing well, and he's going to be closing the LA Niantic studio. So yeah, this is pretty major, because Niantic has had major staff cuts like this in the past, but not to this degree, and it's very telling that Niantic is just not making the revenue that they were before. In fact, that is exactly what John Hanke mentioned. He stated that there was a lot of revenue that they acquired as a result of the pandemic, and I'm assuming it's because of remote raid pass sales, but a lot of that was recently cut as a result of the nerfs to this one item, and yeah, it's unfortunate because all of these layoffs is just another negative result of those remote raid pass nerfs, call it what it is. I reported earlier that they were seeing major revenue drops, some that they haven't seen in several months, and it's a result of the remote raid pass changes. And before I continue, I have to say that my heart does go out to all of those employees that did get laid off. It's a really sucky situation, and I've definitely been there before. And yeah, I really hope all of you land on your feet, because Niantic laying you off is not a pleasant situation, and me as a player, like coming from my perspective, I would have rather they did not do that. Even though I have my gripes with Niantic and with Pokemon GO and the direction that it's been going, I have to tell you that I am on your side and I support all of you, so I really hope all of you land on your feet. So yeah, with that said, now let's talk about what kind of impact this will have on Pokemon GO's future, because like I said, it's definitely going to make an impact. First and foremost, it's never going to be good for a product if a bunch of staff behind it are going to be laid off. Like, Pokemon GO's quality might see a major dip. A lot of the people that were cut were developers, and I'm sure they've had a hand in Pokemon GO in some way. Sure, most of the people were probably cut as a result of a bunch of projects getting cut, but I really feel like when it comes to Niantic, cutting a bunch of resources is always going to affect the products that are out on the line. So yeah, when it comes to Pokemon GO, we might see some dips in quality, but overall, I think there is a silver lining here. One of the things that I've always wanted for Pokemon GO is for Niantic to dedicate all of their resources into that game. Realistically, they wouldn't have done that anyway, because Pokemon GO is actually not the only game that has been successful for Niantic, but I still think a major part of their resources should have been dedicated to this game, considering that it is their biggest cash cow. I've been wanting them to make cuts when it comes to game projects. Like, I really do not like the fact that there's just so many different AR games out there right now, and most of them are coming directly from Niantic. It seems like they were being stretched too thin, and a lot of the resources that they were dedicating to these failed projects could have gone to Pokemon GO to make that game even better. And you know what? According to John Hanke, that is exactly what he intends to do. My only concern is that they made a lot of layoffs and they actually closed down an entire office. So I really do not know if the remaining resources are going to be enough to make Pokemon GO a better experience. But I do like the fact that they are kind of trimming the fat over at the company, because having all of these different projects that most of them were doomed to fail, like, it was only going to make Pokemon GO that much worse. But now that they are kind of refining their strategy and just focusing on a couple of single products, like, I do think that could be a good thing for Pokemon GO long term. So yeah, where do we go from here as a Pokemon GO community? Well, there's nothing really we can do, right? Like, yeah, Niantic made the layoffs, they made all the cuts to the projects. It really sucks for all the people who actually enjoyed those projects, but let's be real here, most of those were failing to begin with, and I really do not think there was any hype around the Marvel AR game that they were developing. So, you know, I really feel like we have to be trepidatious, like we have to be cautiously optimistic for Pokemon GO. Yes, it really sucks for all the people who got laid off, but when it comes to Niantic and when it comes to Pokemon GO, this could really be a good thing, and it could be a way for the game to be better in the future. You know, I really hope this was a strong lesson learned for Niantic, that they're not just going to ride on a bunch of temporary success in order to expand their company in a way that's unrealistic. I really do think that when it comes to the sustainability of Niantic, the best strategy that they could have ever employed was to keep Pokemon Go at the forefront and not try to strike it rich once again. A game like Pokemon Go just works. Pokemon the IP alongside AR gameplay is just a perfect formula. You really won't be able to achieve that with something like the NBA or with, I don't know, Catan or Marvel. Like, yeah, those are some really cool IPs and I really enjoy them. But to play an AR game involving that stuff, like, I'm just not interested. And I think a lot of other people were not as well. I think what Niantic should do is just keep moving forward with just Pokemon Go, Pikmin Bloom, and Ingress. Like, those are the 3 projects that they should focus on, and I really do not think they need anything else. Just keep these games alive and thriving, and they'll be fine. So yeah, I have a lot of cautious optimism. Again, I feel really bad for all of the employees that got laid off. I just really hope something positive comes out of this. Like, all of the employees that got laid off, maybe they could end up in much better situations, and when it comes to Pokemon Go, it could become a better product. So a lot of those layoffs were not for nothing. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. It's really going to depend on the direction that Niantic goes with Pokemon Go, because unfortunately, even with added resources, there's a lot of core fundamental problems with Pokemon Go. Like, for example, they've been putting so much emphasis on in-person play and exploration-based play, and I just feel like they haven't been implementing those philosophies correctly. Like, yeah, there's a lot of really cool features that are on the horizon that I actually think is going to make those aspects of Pokemon Go a lot of fun. But to do things like nerf remote raid passes and limiting shadow legendary raids to in-person only, like, a lot of this stuff is just going off really negatively with the Pokemon Go community, and it just makes it seem like Niantic is completely out of touch. So even if they dedicate all of their resources to Pokemon Go, if they do not fix a lot of these core problems, it's not really going to mean anything. So I really hope Niantic starts there. Ultimately, what they need to do is actually listen to the community. Yes, we can have some really great exploration-based play, but we could also have a lot of fun with a lot of current successful mechanics as well. So hopefully Niantic has their ears to the ground. It's a really bad time for Niantic right now. I totally get that, but I really hope they bounce back and just come up with some great stuff for Pokemon Go. I have a lot of cautious optimism, like I said. I just really hope a lot of that stuff ends up panning out, but we'll just have to wait and see. But in any case, yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I would love to know your thoughts regarding all of this down below. Obviously, this is some pretty big news. It's going to be bad news for a lot of people, but it could end up being good news for the Pokemon Go community in the future. But yeah, I really do not know if that's going to be the case, but I would love to know your thoughts, and let's have a great discussion regarding it. And yeah, if you ended up enjoying this video and found it to be informative, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to join me up for remote raids or interact with me in some way within Pokemon Go, then the best way that you can do that is by, of course, becoming a patron on my Patreon. Mainly because for all my patrons, they get a permanent spot on my in-game friends list. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.